They say some players are untouchable, bulletproof, built to endure everything the game throws at them. Last night in Miami, that myth shattered. Nikola Jokic, MVP, Iron Man, the heartbeat of the Denver Nuggets, went down in an instant. Not from a thunderous dunk, not from a collision with a rival, but from a single accidental step by a teammate. One misstep, one knee buckle, and an entire season teetered on the edge. How will Denver survive without their leader? Can the Nuggets still keep their championship dreams alive?
The Nuggets have a tough road ahead of them without their best player and arguably the best player on the planet.
Tonight, we break down exactly what happened, what it means for Denver's title hopes, and why this moment might be the most consequential injury in the NBA this year. The Iron Man's legacy. Let's be clear from the very start. In the modern NBA, durability is a rare commodity. Load management is standard. Star players routinely sit out back-to-backs. Minutes are rationed like precious resources. And then there's Nikola Jokic. Since entering the league in 2015-2016, no player has appeared in more games than him. Not Steph Curry, not LeBron James, not anyone. In an era obsessed with preserving bodies,
I mean, that is LeBron
James aggressive.
That's what that looks like. I did not, it was behind everybody, so we didn't see.
Jokic is the Iron Man of professional basketball. He doesn't just show up. He dominates night after night, season after season. Over his first 10 full seasons, the most games he ever missed was 13 in 2022-2023. Every other year, he played at least 70 games. For most stars, 70 games is a strong season. For Jokic, it's his floor. This season, before last night's shocking injury in Miami, he had played every single game. Perfect attendance.
Injury to Jokic, that's a big cloud over the Denver Nuggets right now. Here's a replay of how he got off the court.
He was on pace to play all 82 games for the first time in his career, adding yet another extraordinary accomplishment to a resume already overflowing with accolades. Durability isn't just about showing up, it's about production. Jokic doesn't just occupy space on the floor, he transforms it. In 19 minutes against Miami, before the injury, he had already scored 21 points, grabbed 8 rebounds, and dished out 5 assists. He was on his way to another triple-double, something so routine for him that the magnitude almost goes unnoticed. But this is Jokic's baseline. This season, he was averaging a 30-point triple-double on a 71% true shooting percentage.
Nice look by Jokic. That's his 9th assist, so he's 1 assist shy of a triple-double.
Numbers that are historically absurd. The context makes it even more remarkable. The Nuggets were decimated by injuries, missing 3 of 5 starters. A patchwork roster of backups and replacements faced one of the league's most potent offenses, yet Denver was tied 63-63 at halftime, thanks entirely to Jokic. He was single-handedly keeping a struggling team competitive, doing the impossible in a game they had no business contending in.
I got the opportunity to sit courtside and watch Joker and this Denver Nuggets team play.
This is why Jokic isn't just durable, he's irreplaceable. He carries franchises, sets the tone, and defines championship windows. When he is on the floor, the Nuggets compete. When he goes down, the ripple effect is immediate and devastating. Now, as Denver awaits the results of his injury, fans are left to wonder, how does a team survive without its Iron Man? And is there anyone in the league capable of filling a void that, historically, has never been filled? And now, as Denver waits for the results of his injury, fans and analysts alike are left to wonder, how does a team survive without its Iron Man? And can anyone step up to fill a void that historically has never been filled?
Jokic and how the Nuggets
championship with the Kansas Jayhawks. It's just a combination of having an eye for talent.
The moment everything changed. The injury happened with seconds remaining before halftime, a moment that has already been replayed endlessly in the minds of Nuggets fans. On the court, everything looked routine. Jokic was moving without the ball, the constant, subtle motion that made him nearly impossible to guard. Then, in a moment that should have been inconsequential, teammate Spencer Jones stepped on his foot. Accidental contact, something that happens dozens of times every game, should have resulted in nothing more than a stumble. But this time, everything aligned wrong. The angle, the timing, the snap of fate. Jokic's knee buckled violently, not a tweak, not a minor shift. Real, unmistakable collapse that made everyone watching feel instantly queasy. The reaction on Jokic's face told the story immediately. Pain, raw, undeniable, something is wrong pain.
It's a knee injury that had fans across the country collectively.
And this is a man who has redefined durability in the modern NBA. A player who routinely plays through injuries that would sideline most athletes for weeks. To see him falter in such a visceral way signaled instantly that this wasn't minor. Something serious had occurred. He managed to get to his feet and walk to the locker room under his own power, offering a fleeting glimmer of hope. Maybe it wasn't as bad as it looked. But then came the limp. Obvious, painful, each step a visible struggle. The final blow came moments later. Jokic would not return for the second half. The Iron Man, the player who never misses, the anchor of Denver's entire season, was done.
That was an ominous sight to see Jokic hobble out halfway through this game to the Denver locker room.
Head coach Michael Malone, who has watched Jokic play through countless injuries, described the replay at halftime and confirmed what every fan feared. Something was very wrong. The second half underscored just how indispensable Jokic is. The Nuggets, tied at the break, were utterly helpless without their engine. Miami ran rampant, scoring 84 points in the final 2 quarters alone, finishing with a 147-123 blowout. Denver's defense, often criticized but rarely exposed this completely, was shredded. Without Jokic orchestrating both ends of the floor, everything fell apart. Every rotation, every assignment, every defensive rotation unraveled. The narrative that Denver might somehow survive or even improve without him was obliterated in 48 brutal minutes.
Nuggets have fired coach Michael Malone along with general manager Calvin Booth.
Last night wasn't just a loss. It was a stark, undeniable reminder of just how central Nikola Jokic is to the Denver Nuggets. Without him, the foundation crumbles, the championship window narrows, and the stakes for the remainder of the season rise to an almost unbearable level.
Many factors, and I'm just happy that we won again.
And now you are an NBA champion.
The waiting game. Now comes the part that no one wants to endure. The waiting. The tests are underway, MRI scans, X-rays, every possible examination to determine exactly what went wrong with Nikola Jokic's knee. And hovering over every report, every image, is the unspoken fear, the worst-case scenario that nobody wants to say out loud. What if it's a torn ACL? An ACL tear is a season-ending injury, full stop.
The Joker. Now, many fans were worried that this could have been an ACL tear. Jokic out for the rest of the season and likely part of the next.
It demands surgery and a grueling 6 to 12 months of rehabilitation. For a player like Jokic, it doesn't just mean missing the rest of the season. It casts a shadow over the next. Some athletes return and regain their previous form. Others never quite recover that same confidence, that precise movement, that instinctive ability to make the right cut or execute the perfect pass. Jokic may rely more on intelligence and craft than raw explosiveness. But even so, an ACL tear would be catastrophic, not just for this season, but for a career defined by consistency and dominance. Even if the news isn't that dire, the timeline is still daunting. The best-case scenario currently being discussed is a hyperextension with no structural damage.
Air MVP Nikola Jokic on Thursday. Tests showed no structural damage to his knee. That's per multiple reports. He bumped knees.
Similar to what Cam Johnson of the Brooklyn Nets is dealing with. That injury still demands 4 to 6 weeks of rest before even stepping back on the court. And that's only the first phase. Add rehabilitation, conditioning, and the gradual process of returning to full competitive intensity, and we're realistically talking 6 to 10 weeks or more away from action. All of this assumes the imaging reveals nothing worse. The timing couldn't be crueler. Jokic was in the midst of what many analysts are calling the greatest individual season in NBA history. Not just of his career, but in the history of professional basketball. His box plus minus sat nearly 3 points above his own single-season record. His player efficiency rating, a stat designed to capture total dominance, was similarly unprecedented. These numbers aren't just impressive. They measure performance on a scale that the league has literally never seen. And now that season has been derailed by a split-second accident in the final seconds before the halftime. A moment so ordinary it could happen to anyone, Yet the consequences are extraordinary. One misstep, one collision, and the historic run that was redefining the boundaries of what a player could accomplish has been put on indefinite pause. For Jokic, the Nuggets, and the NBA, the question now is no longer about greatness. It's about survival, recovery, and whether Iron Man can rise from the most devastating setback of his career. The ripple effects. The injury's impact extends far beyond Nikola Jokic's personal statistics or his run toward another MVP trophy.
And trophy to the 2023-24 Kia NBA Most Valuable Player.
This is a seismic event that reshapes multiple storylines across the league. Most immediately, the MVP race is effectively over. Jokic was running away with it, dominating on every level, putting up numbers no one else could match, making the award feel like a coronation waiting to happen. But missing significant time is an automatic disqualifier in voters' minds. Even a dominant start won't overcome a 2-month absence. Suddenly, the award defaults to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder, a talented, hardworking player having a phenomenal season, but one who was never in Jokic's stratosphere. The 2026 MVP will come with an unspoken caveat. He won because the best player got hurt, not because he outperformed him. For the Denver Nuggets, the consequences are catastrophic. They entered last night's game in 3rd place in the Western Conference, jockeying for home court advantage and positioning themselves for a strong playoff run despite earlier injuries to Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown. Those two starters were expected back within a week or two, which would have restored Denver's full complement of talent for the final stretch. Now the team faces an extended period without its best player, the engine of its offense, the facilitator of everything that makes this team work. Last night's blowout loss against Miami proved, beyond any doubt, that the Nuggets cannot compete without Jokic. The Western Conference is unforgiving this season. Every game carries enormous stakes. Every loss carries a tangible cost. Without Jokic, Denver is poised to fall in the standings, potentially dropping into play-in territory. That means no home court advantage, a higher-seeded first-round opponent, and the added pressure of must-win games just to reach the playoffs. A team that began the season 12-3, boasting one of the league's top 3 offenses and defenses, now faces the very real possibility of fighting merely to make the postseason. The broader context makes this collapse even more painful. The Nuggets' championship window, which opened wide after their 2023 title run, seemed primed for another deep run. Injuries to role players were manageable because Jokic carried the team through adversity. Now, with 4 of 5 starters sidelined for at least a month, the core has been gutted. A season that promised greatness has been reduced to survival mode. All because of one freak accident that has fundamentally changed the trajectory of Denver's year. The brutal reality: what makes Nikola Jokic's injury so heartbreaking goes far beyond missed games, MVP implications, or playoff positioning. Jokic represents something almost sacred in modern professional sports: the triumph of skill, intelligence, and craft over pure athleticism. He isn't the prototype of a superstar. He doesn't have a chiseled body built for explosive dunks, lightning-fast lateral movement, or blistering speed. Early in his career, scouts questioned whether his frame, conditioning, and unconventional style could ever sustain elite-level basketball. And yet, he became the NBA's most dominant player, not by outjumping anyone, not by outrunning anyone, but through an almost supernatural understanding of the game. Positioning, timing, vision, decision-making. Jokic reads the court like no one else, predicting plays before they happen and creating opportunities that seem impossible. He is the proof that basketball IQ, precision, and craft can trump raw physical gifts, even at the highest level. And he does it quietly. No theatrics, no lobbying for MVPs, no social media campaigns or over-the-top celebrations. Jokic shows up, plays, and lets the basketball speak for him. There's a purity to his brilliance that resonates in a league often dominated by spectacle and hype. Watching him is like watching a master at work. Joyful, focused, precise. He makes the sport feel accessible because he looks like someone who could be living an ordinary life, yet produces extraordinary results. That relatability, combined with his mastery, is why fans and teammates admire him so profoundly. Durability has been a central part of his appeal. In an era of load management, minor injuries, and constant rest days, Jokic was a constant. Every game, every night, he was there. You could buy a ticket and know you were getting the full experience of Jokic on the court. That reliability became part of his identity, part of the story that made him special. And now that trust has been broken, not by negligence, not by poor preparation, but by sheer cruel randomness. A teammate's accidental step on his foot. The human element cannot be ignored. This is a person who has devoted his life to mastering something extraordinary, who has sacrificed, trained, and endured for greatness, only to see a historic season slip through his fingers due to forces entirely out of his control. Jokic will handle it with his trademark quiet professionalism. He won't complain. He won't dramatize it. But that doesn't erase the frustration, the unfairness, or the sting of opportunity lost. The season, the MVP, the records, they may have all been paused, but the emotional weight of what could have been lingers painfully for him and for everyone who has watched him redefine basketball excellence. The crowd goes quiet, the lights dim, and for a single heartbeat, time seems to stop. One step, one accident, and the season that felt unstoppable now hangs by a thread. The Nuggets face a future without their Iron Man, a team forced to navigate the playoffs and history without the player who carried them for nearly a decade. Will they adapt, survive, and find a way forward? Or has this single moment changed everything, leaving fans to wonder what might have been? The answers are coming, but when they do, will anything ever be the same? The story isn't over. It's only entering its most uncertain chapter.